Eddie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent.
I'm good now that I'm here.
Yeah, right? I was going to say, we finally got here, so...
I just enjoy driving around for 50 minutes. It's just fun.
Well, not only that, it's our second attempt of trying to film this, so I'm glad it's finally actually happening.
Yeah, now it's happening. At the time it's happening. Meant to be.
Exactly. So talk me through your journey. You are a breathwork queen, and...
I'll take it.
It's the thing that's assisted you on your own inner journey, let's call it.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
How did I find breathwork? The first time that it kind of came into my life, I was 17 and I was at a meditation retreat in Ibiza. That's a lie. I was 20. I was not 17. I was 20. And
I was like, Ibiza at 17, that's
honestly, my whole teenage years are a blur. I get really confused with like timings and age of like when I was 20. Anyway, it came into my life. I was at this retreat and this lady was like, we're going to do a breathwork session. I had no idea what it was, but gave it a go. And it was crazy. I was, crying and seeing things and visions. It's almost like I was taking drugs, but I certainly didn't. It was just sort of, consciously fast breathing for a certain amount of time. And then I sort of was a bit against it and had a bit of resistance, and I never did it again. And then kind of probably a couple of years ago, it was actually my dad that introduced me to it. Which is kind of cool. He was at his like 50-year school reunion, and one of his friends that was going through a hard divorce was like, try this breathwork thing. I've been doing it. It's helping with my stress and my anxiety. And so my dad was like, said to me, why don't you try it? Because he knew I was quite like into all that sort of, wellness stuff of just trying to, feel better and more regulated. And I was quite resistant. I was like, oh, I'm so fine, Dad. I don't need anything. And then I did this session in my room, and I'll never forget it. I just kind of looked up one on YouTube, 35 minutes, closed the door in my room on the floor and... Same thing. I was like crying, sweating, laughing. I had really vivid memories and experiences that sort of like smashed me in the face of things that I thought I'd sort of dealt with, but obviously hadn't. It was kind of, because as we know, everything's sort of held in this little vessel of ours. So yeah.
The body keeps score.
Body keeps the score. My God, does it ever. So that was the first session I did. And then I was... It sounds a little bit cliche. It was so profound and so magical and amazing that I just kind of kept doing it every single day. And then I was like, I want to become qualified so I can share this with other people. Because I just had that, you get that knowing or that pull or that intuitive sort of like, hey, this is something. I can feel like this is something that not only is helping me, but I had this strong feeling of like, this is going to help my sisters. This is going to help my friends. And now that's what I do full time. I've got my own breathwork business and I just toddle around, arriving hour late to podcasts, teaching people.
The ultimate yogi life.
I just don't care. Time's an illusion. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, so now that's what it's crazy. Fast forward like 15, 16 months. That's what I do now. I just go around in corporations, brands, and individuals as well, teaching people how to breathe properly. And yeah, it's a weird little sentence, but that's my life.
How do we not breathe correctly? If you're teaching people how to breathe the right way, how are we not breathing?
I think,
as strange as that sounds.
No, I know it's weird, right? I think the first thing is, well, for me personally, I'll just speak from my own experiences, always breathing from my chest. I didn't even really know what like my diaphragm was, which is like so important. It sort of sits right here. And so as I sort of got the qualification to become like a trained facilitator, my mentor spoke a lot about like our diaphragm and opening up our diaphragm and breathing from our belly and breathing slow, and I'm kind of like, what? Like, I've never been taught how to breathe properly, which is crazy because it's our breath. It's kind of where everything begins, like over the meditation or the yoga or the movement or the food or anything. How are we breathing? You know what I mean? So I think I learned how to breathe properly, which simple form is just trying to breathe from my tummy, trying to stick my tummy out and trying not to, suck in your belly, stick out your chest. And I think my anxiety was very physical. I was always quite panicked and always like catching my breath, you know, which I think I can speak for a lot of people. Like you forget to breathe. You go, oh shit, I haven't breathed, or it's bizarre. It's so weird.
It's like so unconscious that you don't realize that it's happening.
Exactly. Which is, and that word unconscious, like that's the biggie, right? Is we're not. And so I became conscious of how I was breathing. I learned to open up my diaphragm, breathe from my stomach. My anxiety completely disappeared. Like truly, I don't remember the last time that I had that severe physical anxiety that I used to have, like basically every day, like truly. So in simple terms, just learning how to move my breath down and move slower and just become conscious of how I'm actually breathing. Yeah, it was pretty remarkable, and yet so simple.
Yeah, right. Just so take a breath.
So simple. But as humans, we like to complicate things. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
almost like this has to be harder than it seems.
Yeah, like there has to be a catch-22, or there has to be something, but it's also free. Like you don't have to pay. Like this is just having awareness of your body, and it all starts with the breath. So, yeah.
You mentioned earlier on that you, like your teenage years are very just clumped together.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, they're a bit blurry. Honestly, just from like sort of 13 to sort of 19, I just was just a little shit. I was just all over the shop. I was doing the wrong thing. I was hanging out with the wrong people, drugs, alcohol, all that stuff. And I think really lost my way and really gave everything a good hit. You know, what do they say? You hit your rock bottom. I did. I got very low, and I think I tried a lot of things to sort of get myself out of that place. And I did eventually, but it wasn't until I found the breath work that really things started to click and change for me. I think I got to a point in those sort of murky teenage years, and even coming out of it a little bit, I kind of had this narrative or this story I would tell myself of like, oh, life's just hard. Like it's just hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
it's meant to be hard.
Meant to be hard. I'm going to be a bit anxious, probably going to drink alcohol all the time, and, you know, feel a bit shit, and my relationships, my relationships might be at shit. I might make money maybe. Like I just kind of had this story and these narratives and this identity of like life is just like, oh, it's going to be hard, you know? And everything was hard about me, you know? I was very just like, and that was all just not, well, it was my reality at that time, but pretty cool that you can change that. Hard, but you can. And so that was quite, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Not magical, but it's quite interesting when you tell yourself, because I think a habit or a limiting belief is kind of just a thought you keep telling yourself over and over and over and over and over again, right?
Yeah, it's a story.
It's a story, right? Yeah. So if I keep saying that like life's hard, it's a bit shit, I'm going to drink all the time, men suck, whatever, then probably that's going to be my reality, right? So,
100%.
Yeah. So for me, when I found the breath work and came out of those kind of sludgy, murky, shitty teenage years, it was really cool to get very crystal clear of like, okay, who am I? What am I doing? Why am I the way I am? What are my beliefs that I believe about myself? Who am I hanging out with? What am I putting into my body? And what the fuck do I want for this life? What do I want? What are my dreams, my goals, my visions, my desires, my manifestations? And so, yeah, it was a big whirlwind to be like, oh shit, I can change my life. That was cool because I certainly didn't think I could.
Kind of like stuck in the powerless place.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, very powerless. And I think there was just so much sludginess on top of everything. Like nothing was, you kind of have to bring it back a little bit. Like I think I've mentioned it before, but I think I was sort of doing all the things like the affirmations or the positive thinking or, like eat fucking healthy food and exercise and I don't know, all that, read a self-development book. But none of that stuff is going to work unless we bring our little nervous systems to a nice, calm, relaxed state, right? We've got to bring it down. Like I was listening to this Joe Dispenza podcast and he was like, try meditating when you're in fight or flight. He's like, you'll get eaten alive. Like it's not a nice place when you're in there, right? So I was in that state, yet I was doing all the things and ticking it off. So intellectually in my mind, yeah, cool, I was doing it, but it was not embodied. My body was like, she's not okay. And so breath work for me kind of got me into my body for the first, like literally for the first time since I can remember. It was so weird to be like, wow, I'm so present and I'm so connected to my body, which is how it should be.
What makes us disconnected from our bodies?
Oh God, so much stuff. What makes us disconnected?
1,000 different things.
So I mean, I think, society stuff and TV, social media, Instagram makes us definitely disconnected from our bodies. Alcohol, drugs, that adrenaline and, pumping the coffee and exercising every day is addictive. Like you can but I think a lot of it, we're sort of floating little heads. Like we're not really connected to our hearts or if you're a woman, like our wombs or our bodies, you know what I mean? So I think what makes us disconnected is so much overstimulation of everything. Like we just need to all just go for a walk on the grass and just sit down for a second.
Come back into the real world.
A little bit, yeah. We're sort of all,
Like a constant state of stress and overstimulation and just that need to... Would it be like considered an addiction to the stress?
100%. Because, we're addicted to, whether it's bad or good, we're addicted to familiarity, right? So if I've been running on adrenaline, cortisol, in my masculine, get it done, hustle, blah, 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 and then I try to change that, my body's going to be like, wow, what are you doing? This is weird. You've been in this habit since you were, 14. Why are you trying to stop drinking? You always drink. What are you doing? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like this is good for us.
Yeah, exactly. So it's difficult, but it's so doable. So I think when you start to shift into that state of that balance and calmness and regulation. I mean, I know I've spoken to my dad about it, my good friends. When you sort of start doing this healing work, you're exhausted. You're exhausted because your body feels safe, and so it's calming down, and it takes time to get into that new sort of state or sort of shift that you're trying to cultivate for yourself.
Like a new baseline almost.
Yeah.
Like if my baseline is, like you said, that masculine go.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to shift it to a more calm or relaxed state. It's like a void of the in-between.
100%. And honestly, even now, like even today, like I woke up and I was going to go to the gym and I stayed in my pajamas until like 1 p.m. and I meditated and I journaled and I had like a really nice big breakfast and I just stayed inside. And like even then I was like, should I be doing something? Like, should I be, you know what I mean? So even I've been practicing those things for years now, and that little voice still comes in of like, should you be doing something? Should you be, you know, that's that doing. I think the masculine is doing, the feminine is being, in my opinion. So yeah,
it's
because
a balance. Like, you can look at it two ways. The want to, or at least this is how I look at it. The constant want to do something is to feel like I'm not wasting my life.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting around and just being,
Yeah.
right?
What?
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing nothing, thus wasting my life.
Yeah.
But it's in those moments of being that you're actually living life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. It's so true as well. And, you know, difference between being and, you know, like watching Netflix, which is also, it's also okay, guys. We're human. You can watch Netflix, but like, yeah, there's a big, really in those being moments, like that's when you kind of are refilling up your cup. You're connecting back to earth or your faith or universe, God, or I don't know, like for me, like when I'm being, it's just connecting back to my faith, connecting back to something that's bigger than me. That's how I think I stay grounded and sane in this crazy world.
At a baseline. So if my baseline is chaotic, stress, high levels of dopamine.
Yes.
How do I try and shift it?
Yeah. Breath work. And not like, okay, lie down for 40 minutes, like let's get into releasing your trauma and emotions, but like it is actually this simple. literally just start with like 2 minutes, because we now know that breath work is the quickest way to shift your state over anything, right? It's different to meditation. I'm not asking you to sit down with your thoughts. I'm asking you to do a breathing technique for like 120 seconds, 2 minutes. That's all. It's all I need you to do, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. Once we do that, couple of minutes of conscious breathing, of like a down regulating breathing technique, I don't know, box breath, humming, 2-1 breath, whatever it is, there's all these different breathing techniques, but something to relax us. We need to come to our state, we need to come to our body. So before we do anything, we've got to change this state, and we do that by consciously breathing. I mean, we can shake, we can move, of course, but breath work, we now know it's the quickest way to shift your state. That's crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah, when you think about 2 minutes, I could do that right now, right?
You could. You absolutely could. Yeah.
Or when I'm in my car getting out to go to work, or when I'm coming back from work.
100%. I mean, I did that when I was driving around for 50 minutes. I was listening to
Doing
a
some
podcast,
deep
and I'm like, I
breathing.
don't want to listen to this podcast. I'm going to do my breathing now because this is really annoying me. Truly, you absolutely can. I mean, for me, depends where I'm at in my cycle, but like mostly I wake up and I'm like, whoa, like there's a lot going on up here. I'm sure for everyone.
I was going to say, I feel like
I'm
that's a
not
female
special.
thing, right?
Yeah, like I'm not that special. We're all quite similar. Wake up and I will do, slow breathing for like 2 to 3 minutes. I like guided. I like hearing someone's voice. You can just do it alone, of course. But I think we need that little kind of mentor, someone holding our hand of just guided breathing. And, a couple of minutes will bring us into your parasympathetic, which is your rest and digest. That's where we want to be. For me, when I got into the slow breathing every morning, I would yawn a lot. I'd fall back asleep because I was always like either not quite woken up yet, or I would be too much in fight or flight that I couldn't concentrate and I'd stop doing it. So it was not necessarily that easy. It was kind of challenging. But we've got to change our state first. And when we change our state, after that, our story changes a little bit. You know what I mean? So like when we're
Explain that for me.
So like we've got our state. Okay, we've changed your state. We've done your 4 minutes of box breath, right? Your narrative and your story and your thoughts that are going to follow are going to be very different. Whereas if, your alarm goes off, you're pumping your coffee, you're listening to Beyonce and you're like in traffic, it's
yelling at somebody.
Yelling at someone, fight with your partner, you didn't get to eat, whatever, right?
Yep.
The story and the thoughts that are going to be in both of those brains with those two different situations are going to be so different, right?
Yeah, I can almost see it. One will be, nothing works out for me. Why is this so hard? The other one will be, what is it teaching me?
Exactly. What is it teaching me? I'm calm. I just find after I do a couple of minutes of slow breathing, I'm just in touch with my body. I can just take a breath. And my biggest thing for me personally is I don't want to rush anymore. I don't want to rush. I don't want to rush. Even when I walk out the door, and I left myself an hour and a half to get here, even though it was later. But I was kind of like walking out the door with my keys. I'm like, slow down, lady.
Yeah.
You got time. You've left yourself a lot of time. Like just tiny little things like that. And I think I wouldn't notice that if I didn't do my sort of practices to get me in touch with my body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah.
I feel like I was heavily disconnected from my body for a longest time.
Yeah.
In this constant, like you said earlier, that high masculine state where we're trying to drive forward, but it was like in my body. So like you could see it how I walked, a very fast rush everywhere, chaotic almost, even though people felt my energy is very calm, which kind of contradicted. But like, I didn't realize it until I started wearing a backpack how much on a forward lean I walked.
Wow.
And then when I put a backpack on that had weight in it and it pulled me back, I was like, oh, that's what my abs feel like from top to bottom.
Wow.
And it's the most, and so now I notice it in other women, that constant, it looks like they're running somewhere that they don't really know where they're going.
Truly.
Just chaotic.
Scary.
Is it more common in women to be disconnected than it is men?
That's a good question. I think we all are I don't know. I don't think it's one or the other. Men need breathwork just as much as we do. Men in some ways need, I don't know, they need hugs. They need almost.
Maybe they need it more.
Maybe they need it more. No, I'm kidding. It's a good question. I don't know. I think women maybe have that sort of, I mean, we know now, like, a lot of, you know, at school, for example, like, we're not really taught about women's bodies. Like, we're sort of just looking at a man's body, and, you know, we're not taught about women's cycles, or that women have second body clocks, and, you know, men have, like, the circadian rhythm, so do we, and then women have a second body clock, which is the infradian rhythm. And I didn't know about this until a couple of years ago. So, I mean, I don't want to say women have it harder, because I don't think it's true. I think we both have it tough in different ways for different things. I think men hold, and they struggle to like speak and get stuff off their chest. So they kind of hold everything in their bodies. But I think women are like trying so hard to fit into certain boxes and norms, and they just fucking can't, because they shouldn't.
Yeah, it's...
You know,
and it almost contradicts the type of box that we have to fit in.
Yeah.
Based on societal expectations, or the ones that we set ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's an interesting question. I think both of us, I think all of us are sort of looking, we're all kind of looking, I think, for the same thing, which is kind of to, you know, be the best version of ourselves, you know, learn lessons, be kind, don't treat other people badly. And I think we're all looking to be, well, I know I certainly am, to be as peaceful as possible inside of myself, you know, just be at peace with who I am, and to love and to be loved. That little, you know, cringy one, of course. But I think I think we're all looking to just feel just okay and just at peace with ourselves, no matter what sex or gender you are, you know?
I think that's what everybody wants.
Yeah.
Like the cringy thing that you said, to love and be loved, right?
That's true.
But I think that's what people ultimately want, is to be seen, loved, and heard. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
At whatever level or capacity that they're able to do so, or the depths in which they've met themselves.
Good. Yeah.
But I think at a core level, that's all what people want.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And what you said of, like, you know, you can only meet people and go as deeply with someone as deep as you've gone with yourself. I very much believe that. Very much believe that.
Well, it's like I can't possibly understand or open my mind to something greater if I've not looked in myself and noticed the same thing within me.
Yeah. So true. I love that. It's just so true. It's just so true. And I think, you know, something I'm definitely trying to learn better is meeting people where they're at. You know, I think, you know, if I'm gonna say that I'm like this, you know, spiritual, real human, then I can't judge people for not being at my level, or for not understanding something that they should understand, you know, like that's kind of going against everything that I'm trying to, you know, preach and do. Like, there should be no judgment. And so I think I'm trying to get better at just meeting people where they're at and having more patience and less judgment, you know what I mean? Because hopefully we're all just kind of trying to do the best we can.
Well, ultimately, right?
Yeah.
With the level of experience in which that we've lived.
Yeah.
So we've all lived different experiences, probably have the same things to work through, right? But it's just our lens is different. Your lens might be green and mine's red. So the way we perceive the world is going to be different.
Yeah.
Automatically, just based on that.
Yeah.
And then a man's is going to be different to a woman's, and vice versa.
Yeah.
We couldn't understand what a man goes through like he couldn't understand what we go through.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Do you judge yourself?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I do. I do judge myself. I judge myself on a kind of, I guess, more of like a, not surface level, but I judge myself based on like what it is that I'm achieving and what it is that I'm what it is that I'm trying to do. Maybe different to judge. I definitely put a lot of pressure. Again, I know I'm sure a lot of people do. I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself to do the things that I'm wanting to do. But again, coming back to I listened to this podcast and it was like, you know, if you know this is your life's purpose and you know that this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, she was like, then why rush? Like, if you know. And I was like, that's so good. It really, really got me. So I do judge myself. I don't judge myself much about the past. I used to like, you know, hold it and, oh, I'm a bad person and, you know, be resentful and hold, but fuck, that got me nowhere. So I am much less critical of myself now than what I used to be. And I'm much less critical of other people. I am quite judgmental of other humans and myself. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I am. I think I expect a lot from humans that are in my little circle.
Why?
Because I know that I give them top notch.
So your expectation is they return at the same level.
Yeah, which is also, you got to be careful of that because not everyone has the same heart that you do.
Not everyone has the same capacity, is what I learned.
Yeah.
That we could all have the same heart and want to do what others do for us, but we might not have the capacity. So like the thought process of having so much on your plate. My plate could be bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Thus, my heart to give is bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Do you ever give with expectation?
Give as in depending on the human, or
Well, no. If you have a level of expectation for people around you, is there an expectation that if you were to give with that level of expectation, then the expectation is to return at that same level?
No. I think, you know, friendships or people that are close to me, I don't always necessarily think that there has to be like an even level of like exchange of like, you've got to give me as much as I give you. I think with friendships specifically, it can be, you know, different and different friends for maybe different things or different situations. Like, I have different friends that I will speak to about certain things that I wouldn't speak to about someone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have different people for different things. Makes sense.
Of course, yeah. I think, yeah, it's a good question. I don't, when I'm giving or I'm like, you know, giving to my friends, right, I definitely don't expect that they need to do the same thing. But there, as I was saying, that level of like, you know, that level of just, it is reciprocated, but maybe in a different energy or with a different action. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I've got, yeah, like I think I have, you know, my best mate who I live with, like we fill each other's cups up, but in quite different ways. Like she'll know if I just need to speak and she just needs to listen, and I'll, you know, exchange something with, you know, having her meet someone, do you know what I mean? Like it's just that sort of different kind of little thing. But I've realized now, not the hard way, but as you go through more and you learn more and you deal with more pain and suffering and like learning more stuff, your circle of people that you sort of go to does become smaller because a lot of people don't understand.
Interesting.
Because going back to that capacity of like, you can only go deep with people as deeply as they've gone with themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your ability to communicate things, like if I've not worked through anything, if you try and communicate something that you've been through, it might come through as a scope of like, I'm hearing it from a place of victim.
Yeah.
If you're coming from a different place, I might hear it from, you know, maybe you just need tough love.
Yeah.
So the lens will be different. That's why I always believe that it's better to have certain people for different things.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
When you talk about the going through pain and suffering, what do you mean?
What do I mean by that? I mean, in a simple term, I mean just not suppressing your emotions and not suppressing things that happen. Like when things come up, dealing with them, handling it, acknowledging it, letting it be there, not trying to change it, not push it to the side by distracting yourself. I think it's really fucking difficult these days to just sit with your shit.
100%, because there's 1,001 distractions that I've got.
Yeah.
I can pick up my phone and just complete and can become an absolute zombie just by scrolling, right?
Yeah.
And you can scroll for hours and just goes.
Totally. Just to kind of, just to sit with yourself.
Yeah.
It's actually really difficult. But as you do that and as you accept whatever it is that is coming up in that moment, I don't know, I kind of believe that the more sort of darkness, pain, suffering, like sort of sludgy emotions that you feel, it does increase that spectrum on the other side of like the lightness and the joy and the presence and abundance. And I think I would much rather that spectrum than being on autopilot and not being, you know, emotionally connected to myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd prefer to feel it, even if it's uncomfortable, as opposed to suppressing it and it not feeling anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, if I have so many people, friends and acquaintances, whatever, and I kind of look at them and I'm like, that might just be your life. Like you might just, like that might be your journey, like to just not face anything.
That was me.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a feeling was until I was like 32.
Yeah.
31. Wow. I'm 32 now. So like last year.
literally
last year.
You learn about feelings.
It's like I just assumed I was sad all the time.
Yeah.
Because that was the only emotion that I knew. If you weren't sad, then you had to be happy. But if I'm not happy, then I had to be sad.
Yeah.
There was no spectrum. Like I couldn't tell you what anger felt in my body until this year.
Wow.
Because I learned just how to compartmentalize, push it in the back.
Yes.
Don't worry about it.
Yes.
We're good.
Yes.
People felt it though.
Oh yeah.
People could feel it.
Your energy.
Yeah.
Your essence.
Yeah.
It has a resonance. It has a truth.
Yeah.
I can tell if I'm like, wow, I'm kind of scared of you. You're an angry woman. Like
100%.
You can tell. Like,
you could see it. You could feel it. Like,
yeah.
And that was like just festering in me for so long.
Wow, I love that. That word festering is so good.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah. And it was, so I was that person.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you what it felt like. And it was the weirdest thing. I had been to like 2 to 3 different therapists or whatever.
Yeah.
And all the same thing, like what emotions are you feeling? And I would tell them because I thought it. Like the voice popped into my head and they're like, you're feeling sad.
Yeah.
Great. So that's what I told them.
Yeah.
And it was ironically my sister, and she was trying to walk me through it. She's like, where in your body are you feeling this? And I was like, oh, like my chest. And she's like, okay, great. What are you feeling? I was like, I'm calm. And she's like, no. She's like, try again. She's like, you're not calm. And I was like, she's like, how do you know that you're calm? And I was like, well, the voice told me. She's like, no, it's a feeling. She's like, you have to feel the feeling. She's like, and that's in your body. She's like, so drop into your body. She's like, and tell me what you're feeling.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, 2 years of therapy and nobody worked this out?
Yeah. And see, how did you drop into your body?
It was like this, it was this weird thing. She's like, just breathe into it with me. Breathwork.
Breath. Yeah.
And she's like
a body scan. And,
yeah. She's like deep breaths. I think we worked through like the box thing.
Beautiful.
And she's like, now tell me. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm anxious.
Yeah. See, I've got goosebumps. It's so simple.
Right? But 2 years of therapy and not one person was like, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You're doing this wrong.
And I mean, this is the thing too, like talking.
It's not the
I
same.
don't want to get in trouble, but like talk.
No, just say it.
Talk therapy is whatever, right? But
Because I'm just talking in a loop.
yeah. And you can't talk yourself out of feeling different. Maybe like surfacely, maybe for as you said, compartmentalize, put it in the box.
Yeah.
You know, I can hype myself up. Okay, I'm okay, Eddie. It's all good. Like you're fine. I'm obviously not.
Yeah, you're clearly not doing well.
No,
okay.
but you're like talking yourself out of it. And again, like maybe it lasts a little bit, but our emotions, our feelings, our experiences, our sensations are held in the body.
Yeah.
It is that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to get connected to our body to start to like know ourselves like a little mind map. And how beautiful that you did a couple of minutes of like conscious breath and you're like, oh shit, I'm really anxious.
Yeah.
It is genuinely that simple, but how many of us like don't want to do that because it's scary. It's scary to feel that anxiety come up or to feel that sadness come up or that pain. And yeah, it's scary. But like, what's the other option? Like to keep festering and doing what you're doing?
I was going to say you kind of...
that sounds pretty shit.
It's kind of like you're walking around as a zombie.
Yeah.
And it's... Well, I'll speak for myself. It was... I had no idea. So it was just... This is how my life was.
You just,
Yeah, but if somebody was to talk to me, it was almost like I was lifeless.
Yeah, wow.
Very like, what's the term? I think it's grey rock or something. Like if somebody's talking, there's no emotion coming to you.
Yeah, wow.
Because I hadn't felt one. So how could I give you an emotion if I've not felt one?
It's so crazy, isn't it? Such disconnection. I remember my middle sister, and she won't mind me saying it, but we were in the car together and we were just going for a drive and we had some like pretty deep personal shit going on, and I just stopped and I just said, how are you feeling? And she genuinely, similar to you, didn't know to articulate or to intellectualize like how it was that she was feeling. And it's so normal these days. Like people don't, and people are running off that adrenaline, or they're disconnected and numb and depressed. And it seems like what you're saying is like there's kind of not a lot of like, and that's what I was saying before, right, with my own stuff, is I just kind of accepted that I was just going to feel like this. And
I was like,
you know, and I remember I would like watch people that I looked up to, like podcasts and like spiritual people, whatever, and they would be talking kind of how I'm talking now, and I'd be like, shut up, like you are a liar, like
it's not this simple.
I'm like, it's not this simple. And like I don't know, it's just interesting, you know, like take what you want from that, but it's true. Like I used to look and like scroll and they'd be like, you know, and I'm like, what? How do I get there? Like how do I get there? And that's hard too, right? Because I think you probably can relate. It's like you get a little bit impatient with like, you know, oh, come on, like what do I need to do? Like blah, blah, blah. But I think even one of my close friends, she said to me, she was like, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what my goals are or whatever. And I said, fuck the purpose and the goals. Just as a woman as well, just get curious and get curious, slow down, come to your body and just follow your sort of intuition of sort of what comes up. And it might not make sense. No. It might be a bit weird, but as one of my mentors says, she's like, we don't get to ask how. Only God knows how. It's not up to you. Like, just keep doing what you're doing, you know? Which I think is an interesting thing of like, and then that comes back to the whole like trusting the process and leaning back and receiving and allowing and knowing when to push and take action, but also knowing when to sit back and just do nothing and be patient. Me included. I need to get better at that for sure.
I'm yet to learn the sit back and relax.
Like, you haven't learned.
No. I'm like, that's like the hardest things because I've always pushed for what I wanted. Yeah. And I'm a firm believer that there's no handouts in life. If you want something, go and get it. Yeah. And you have to work for it. Yeah. But I was of the mentality too that if I didn't suffer for it, then did you really work for it?
Yeah, so true. I agree with that.
Right?
I was the same
and
too.
Like you have to suffer, and if you don't suffer, then you don't deserve it. And that was my thing. Yeah. Because I would say like the first, at least teenage, early 20s, it was like a hard fight. Yeah. And so then that was just imprinted. Yeah. So everything was a hard fight. Yeah. When it didn't need to be. Yeah. And I think Well, at least I was stuck in that loop until I was able to look at it.
Yeah.
And even if somebody pointed it out to me, and this is like the level of which we've met ourselves, if somebody was to point it out to me, I wouldn't hear it. Right? It's like being able to tell your friend that the dude that she's with is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She's not hearing that.
No.
She's hearing you're jealous.
No.
You're just jealous.
She's hearing just shut up. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the love of my life, right?
Can relate.
So she's not hearing that. So it's, we can try and tell people, but they have to hear it.
They have to hear it. And one of my sisters said as well, she was like, you know, what was the thing? It's like, if you, what's the, now I've lost it, but it was something about like, is there ever an easy way? Like maybe the only way we learn is like the hard way. Not the hard way, but like,
That is me.
You have to learn yourself.
Yes.
I have to meet you where you're at.
Yes.
I can try my hardest to protect you from pain and try my hardest to protect you from something that you're going to do or whatever. But
Yes.
you need to learn yourself.
Yes.
Because when you learn yourself, that's where all the good stuff comes in, right? The growth, the wisdom.
It might be fucking hard, but you do
It's
learn.
shit at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's not nice at the beginning. But yeah, like that's where all those little golden nuggets of like wisdom and growth and stuff comes in, because you learnt it the hard way without someone coming in and sort of stopping it, you know, like you got to let people
Yeah. So
learn.
I'm agree with part. Like if I go to somebody to mentor me, I want you to leapfrog me from where I am to where you are.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
As quickly as possible.
Yeah.
If obviously that comes down to me and hearing it correctly, right? On the flip side is, I think that we take the hard path when we don't listen to ourselves.
Yes.
So the hard path is because I didn't listen to myself.
Yes.
So if I had to just listen to myself, maybe I would have learned different lessons.
Yeah.
But maybe it didn't have to be so hard because I didn't listen to myself.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
It's so fucking true.
Every time I've, like, the hard path I've gone down, it's because I listened to somebody else and didn't listen to what I already knew.
Yeah. I literally can't agree more. And I think like an example for me is like when I was in like a last relationship and I knew deep down no good. But I completely disregarded myself.
Why?
Because of all that bullshit of like hoping that it will be different and people are telling you, you know, oh, come on, it's doing this and this, it's good, you know, it's all working out. And you know, other things like ego things as well, like, oh, but they're this and that. And yeah, I did. I you know, you disregard yourself. And then the thing is that this is where it gets like interesting, right? Because you disregard yourself, disregard your intuition, your body. You're sort of, you know, disregarding like all the versions of you, right? Like even like the little girl inside of you, like that self-worth and all that stuff. And it's like, say for example, this hasn't happened to me, but I'm just saying, let's say for example, you have a partner and you're with him and you're feeling like you shouldn't be with him, right? And then, but you don't listen to that. And then, I don't know, say he breaks up with you or he's unfaithful to you, right? Then you're so fucking hurt and angry. But you're not actually that angry and hurt at him. You're angry at yourself because you didn't walk away
100%.
when you should have. And so that's where it becomes a choice. You're choosing to stay, you know, it's a choice. So are you going to listen to yourself or are you going to keep going with this until you're almost looking for proof for it to fall apart? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you just spoke at me.
Yeah,
like
okay.
You just gave me an example
Wow,
of
okay.
me. Yeah. Yeah, so literally
just knew
me.
'cause
So 100%, and that's what
Wow.
happened. It wasn't
It's heavy.
the rage that I felt was not at him. It was at me.
Yeah.
And
'Cause you knew.
Yeah, I knew. And it was like I'm a firm believer that we're getting a need met. I'm staying because I'm getting a need met. What's the need getting met? Whether it's the fear of abandonment, whether it's that I, couldn't possibly do it by myself, that I, needed him on some level to fulfill something within me, whether that be lack, avoid, anything.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't healthy, or even if I knew that something else is happening. Yeah. I still chose to stay. And that says more about me than it does about him.
Yeah. But that's very that's wise. That's hard. Like that's great that you're there now,
100%.
And you learned that the hard way.
That hard road.
But now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And even not in relationships, even in like just small things, like if you get your intuition about something for a work thing and then you go with what the other person said and you disregard it and you're like, fuck, that's what, just listen to yourself, right? But and then it's trusting yourself and, all that stuff. But yeah, I just completely agree with what you're saying. Everything you've said is just so right, and I can resonate with all of it.
I'm sitting at home and I'm like, I cannot get into my body for the life of me. What's my first step?
I love a sniff, sigh. I'll sounds like I'm going to do something.
Yes, like, okay.
I'm definitely not. No. This is a breathing technique.
Yeah, okay.
Tom's laughing at us. He's like, guys, I don't do breathwork and cocaine. That would be really not.
Could be a real good time,
though. That would be such a fraud. This is a breathing technique. So I feel like once we're already like in our body, like we're kind of up there, the adrenaline's happening and stuff, it's a little bit difficult to then get into super slow breathing. So this is called a sniff, sigh, and it kind of brings you right down. And it's like this. And you're like 5 of those. Let a little audible sigh, scream into a pillow. This thing I do, not enough, but in Qigong they call it shake the tree. And you just literally bob up and down and shake your wrists and your like ankles up and down. And that is really good again for like de-stressing your body, bringing you back into that sort of calm, regulated state. And then, it's just 5 minutes of box breath.
What's a box breath?
Box breath is, so you are drawing a box with your breath. So you breathe in for 4, you hold your breath for 4, you exhale for 4 out of the nose or pursed lips, and then hold in the exhale for 4. So simple. Do it for 60 seconds and then give me a call and let me know how you feel. And it just sounds like it's so like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's so simple. Do you know what I mean? And it really does shift your state. Even today, I was going through what I was going to do with you after. And I was a bit like on the admin and, had my brekkie and blah, blah, blah. And then I did what I was going to do with you, like just to practice to time it, to see how long it was, because I was looking to do 3 minutes. And I did it. And then I like opened my eyes and I was like, I literally said out, I was like, fuck, this stuff works. I was like, this stuff really works. Like, it almost surprised me again. Like, I started to yawn and get tired and kind of come back into my body because I'd been on my screen, I'd been on my phone, I'd been doing calls. I was a little bit up here. And then it was 1 minute and 32 seconds when I opened my little eyes and checked my phone. And it was me doing in for 4 and out for 6, like for 1 minute and 32 seconds. And I was like, wow, this really works.
You're like, I amazed myself.
I was like, wow, this, like, I'm not a liar. Like, this works. This really works. So yeah, that is what I would do. And at any point of the day as well. Sorry. Yeah.
No,
like, is that, at any point of the day, like, breath works for everyone, and breath work is at any point of the day. Like, it doesn't matter.
And I'm better to be in that calm in-body state when making decisions, or as opposed to being in that nervous, anxious fight or flight.
Fight or flight. Because I think, they say the fight or flight, it's like tunnel vision. It's like, tigers chasing me. Like, how am I going to make regulated, calm, thought-provoking, like, decisions when I'm like this? It doesn't work.
No.
We all operate better for most things when we are calm and regulated. That you don't have to be a scientist to work that one out. It's pretty simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not.
No.
Emotionally charged.
Because I think, when we're like angry or the emotion has taken over us or we're heightened, like, I don't know about you, like, I've said things that I regret, and I will act a certain way, and I'll make decisions, and I'll type things that are not, And that's because I'm heightened and I'm reactive. I'm not responding to life. I'm reacting to life, you know, like you're being a bit of a bitch, or you're sort of, you know, maybe you're not kind of, you're, you know, rushing to eat. So you're not really eating properly. And I don't know, your sleep's all fucked. Like, we have to go back to basics. You got to start with what your little body's doing. And most of us are in fight or flight. Most of us are up here so stressed. I think, I don't know if this is completely right, but like most of our sickness is coming from like emotional stress.
Yep.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
And we could just be breathing.
We could just be slow breathing, 5 minutes of box breath in the morning. Truly, do it every morning for 3 days and tell me how you feel. It's so easy. And I only know this to be true because it worked for me. It works, you know? And, you know, with all the other people that I've helped as well. Like I had this girl the other day, she came up to me and she was like, yeah, you've like really helped me. Like when I'm at work and I get a bit stressed, I notice I'm like breathing from my chest. And she goes, I put my hand on my womb space, because I say womb space for the women. And she's like, I just do slow breathing for a couple, like even 30 seconds. And she's like, it really helps me. And like, kind of makes me emotional. That's so beautiful. It's so simple. You know, I've gotten a lot of messages like that of people, of women especially, being like, fuck, you like really fucking changed my life here from just working out how to breathe properly and slow down. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's like the conscious choice to take a step back and reconnect with yourself, and most people aren't willing to do that.
Yeah, they're not, which is really sad, but it's also their choice.
Yeah, 100%.
And fear holds them back. And I think what's also interesting is after you start to kind of calm down your body and come into a relaxed, regulated state, then we're creating space for other stuff. And that's usually when stuff kind of can, you know, I kind of imagine like you have a can of Coke and you shake it and the lid's still on, you know, kind of explaining a little bit what you were saying with your state. Like you were like, I was angry and people could feel that, but you were keeping a lid on it, you know, in whatever way you could, by how you looked, by exercising, by social media, whatever it was, right? You were keeping a lid on it, but you could feel it. Same with me. Yeah. Same with me. My God. People used to say they thought I would walking on eggshells around me. So hopefully not anymore.
No, you're good.
But what was I going with that? Yeah, so the soft drink thing, you shake it and there's like a lid on, and I think a lot of us are walking around like that. Like, I'm fine, I'm all good. It's like, no, you're not. So breath work allows us to tap into the body, and, you know, when we do certain breathing techniques for a certain amount of time, we're getting into the subconscious. So we're making those unconscious things are coming up to the surface. Uncomfortable, but beautiful. Healing, you know, conscious healing. And I know that I cultivate those sessions in a safe way, you know what I mean? So people allow themselves to feel with whatever wants to come up, which is also so beautiful.
100%. I don't disagree.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's also so crazy that everything stays in the body. That's like, I say this all the time, and you'd think I'd get sick of my own voice saying it, but I don't at all. Like, everything is held in the body, and everything that we're doing in this present moment is driven by our subconscious and driven by our limiting beliefs and our habits and what we've, you know, how we've grown up. And until we make the unconscious conscious, things are not going to change. And for me, breathwork made the unconscious conscious. And so I could start to change some things about myself, which I've done. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's brilliant. It's kind of like a little equation in a way, you know? Like, it's not that woo-woo and spiritual. It's kind of like, this is the body.
Yeah, and if you believe in like the manifestation world and the energetic, like the world is energy. Yeah. Then by me shifting my state, I'm now increasing my vibration or energy into a better state.
Yeah. Yeah. And then all the pretty stuff can come in, right? Yes. So for my own experiences, I'm doing these breathwork sessions. I'm releasing stored emotions that have been in my body. I'm feeling lighter. I'm feeling clearer. I'm feeling less kind of trapped and less kind of, you know, in this little, you know, these little boxes. I'm less triggered by things outside of myself. So I'm releasing all of these things that are in my body. I'm creating space. Okay, create some space. What do you want to call in now? It's pretty cool. Like, and so, you know, after I sort of did that, and I would then get into the fun stuff, right? The visualizing, like our brain and body doesn't know the difference between imaginary and real. So I start to visualize, what do I want in my life? What do I want to call in? Who do I want to attract? Who do I want to be with? What kind of energy am I bringing into? How am I treating other humans? What do I want around me? You know, you start to do that. And I mean, I do that every single day. I've done that for years. And yeah, my whole life is completely different. It's crazy. And that's for sure a big part of it. Like, you can't, I could tell so many stories, you know, of things that have just like happened. And I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. My friends call me a witch sometimes. I'm like, well, guys.
Like, I'll take it.
Yeah, you're like, okay, like, I'll take it. I'm like that lady from Wizard of Oz with the fairy godmother. With like
I'll take that too. Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing. And I think that's not that spiritual woo. It's kind of, it's facts. It's what you're saying, energy, like quantum physics. Like, I don't know much about it, but it's worked for me. So
Joe Dispenza's big on it. Like the world is energy.
Yeah.
So within, what is it? So as below, or as within, as below, and so within, so without, right? Yeah. So for me, if I'm angry, my vibrational level is very low. So my viewpoint of the world is also very narrow, very like one way. And in terms of giving and receiving, it's probably not much is happening there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the more I let go and release things and whatever else to change my energetic state, the lighter I become, thus the higher my vibration increases for me to call in things and shift into different quote unquote realities or wherever it might be.
Yeah, beautiful. I love the way that you've described that. That as you're talking and you say that, it's so easy to follow. It's so easy for me to be like, that makes so much sense. And yeah, it is, it's completely true, and it's completely worked for me. And those practices are fun. And it does change your vibration. I do the Joe Dispenza meditation every single morning. Every single morning, 5 a.m. I do it without a doubt. Have to. And it completely changes my vibration and my whole thing, my whole flow. Like, you know, instead of waking up and checking the phone and rushing to the car to get to where I am, it's like, let's change this, let's get inside, do your thing, ground, just be with myself for a little bit, you know, before I go out there. Like, running a business ain't that easy. There's a lot to do,
always
know? Yeah. And I mean, it's amazing, but you're on a lot, you're sort of on quite a lot. So that sort of sacred little hours in the morning is really important for me, to do those practices, to root back, connect back to myself, connect to my faith, you know, be intentional. How do I want to treat other people? You know, how do I want to make other people feel? Be kind, be of service. And then it all kind of comes back. It's nice.
If you could give advice to your 18-year-old self, what would you say?
Calm down.
Breathe.
Breathe, bitch.
You're going to need it one day.
I truly would just say, like, genuinely slow down and calm down. Like, you're enough and it's going to be okay. I mean, I wouldn't, obviously at 18, I'm not going to hear that at all, but I actually would just say, like, calm down. Calm down. Like, slow down, calm down, stop listening to other people, stop trying to fit in, stop trying to be cool, just bring it down.
Chill the fuck out
and focus on yourself. I don't care much now saying no to people, or I obviously care what people think. Anyone says that they don't, I think they're lying. I think we all care a little bit, but I care a lot less. I don't really try to be anything around someone. Like, I'm just kind of myself now. So I think I'm a lot more like unapologetic, which is nice. At 18, not so much, right? So I would say all of those things. But, you know, that's the journey, right?
100%.
Like, we wouldn't be here having this conversation if there were certain things in my past that did or didn't happen, you know? So, yeah, it's interesting. I'm 27 this year, so what's that? So 18 was almost 10 years ago.
Still young.
I'm still young. You're still young too.
Kind of. Eddie, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'm so glad we actually got to make this happen.
I know we finally got to make it happen. Thank you for having me, and I've loved the chat, so thank you.
Thank you.